date before the 28th of October. I already went to look for a hotel close to the embassy. About this particular army hotel that is very close to the embassy, and it's very affordable too if you want to save up money for other things. I was putting on heels, but it was a comfortable heels, and then the interview started. They started calling people to come, but as he was looking at me, I was looking at him. What did you guys do together when he was in Nigeria? And he was like, you know what, I believe in your relationship and I'm going to approve your visa. Pictures from the third visit, some of the receipts, the video calls, some of our chats, joint accounts, the dollar joint account and the naira joint account that we hate me. Hello guys, what's up and welcome back. This is Chidera Cynthia Arrowing. This is the continuation of my relocation series. If you watched my last video, you know that I'm back to Asaba after spending a long time in Lagos for my medicals and interview. And this video, just like the title said, is going to be about my interview experience in Lagos. I'm going to be explaining the experience, how it was that day, the hotel I stayed that was close to the embassy. I'm going to be leaving details of that hotel here for you in case you need it to. Like, it's very cheap, very affordable. The questions I was asked, how long the interview took, and of course the documents I went for this interview. I have my file here. Yeah, I have my file here, very big. When I got there for my interview, as soon as I placed this file, the interviewer just looked at me and started laughing. So I'm going to be explaining all the documents I went with and how I arranged it, so you prepare for yours that same way, okay? So make sure to watch to the end of this video because I'm going to be listing all the documents here. Meanwhile, if you're seeing this face for the first time, my husband and I are currently processing my IR1 visa to join him in the US. I've already gone for my interview. I just want to explain the interview questions I was asked and how the process was. So without wasting much of your time, let's get right into this video. So for more context, if you didn't watch my previous videos, just try and follow my relocation series, okay, so you won't be lost when I'm explaining anything. I'm not going to talk about my medicals because I already showed that. I did a whole vlog on that in my previous video, so you can check it out. So my interview was fixed to be on 28th of October 2024. I went to Lagos on the 2nd of October before my medicals. My medicals were supposed to be on the 3rd of October. And I went to Lagos on the 2nd. I don't stay in Lagos. I don't base in Lagos. I stay in Asaba. So I had to go to Lagos for my interview and medicals. It's advisable to do your medicals at least 3 weeks or 4 weeks before your interview date, so that when you go for your interview, you'll be sure that the embassy have already gotten your medicals. So before my interview date, before the 28th of October, I already went to look for a hotel close to the embassy. So I got this information about this particular army hotel from a WhatsApp immigration group that I joined during my process. We were really helping each other out in that group, carrying each other along. So I asked about a hotel close to the embassy because I want to stay close to the embassy. The time of my interview was 7 a.m. So I needed to be very close to the embassy. So I got this information about this particular army hotel that is very close to the embassy. Like, on the day of my interview, I just walked less than 15 minutes walk from the hotel to the embassy, and after my interview I walked back. Very, very close. You don't even need a cab to take you there, and it's very affordable too. If you want to save up money for other things, of course you need money for other things, so you won't want to spend all your money booking a hotel. It's very, very affordable. 25,000 naira per night. I paid for 2 nights because I don't want, after my interview, I'll come back to the hotel, start rushing and packing my things to leave before 12 p.m. I just wanted to come back, rest, rejoice if I get my visa, of course. So a day before my interview date, on the 27th of October, I went to the hotel, checked in, and started preparing. Night before my interview, I started going through all the questions I've been looking up, and some of the questions I saw from the group, the WhatsApp group I joined. So I was writing down all the questions. I'm going to list out all the questions apart from the ones I was asked. I'm going to be listing out all the possible interview questions too, so you can be jotting it out, okay? But let me just finish with the experience first, okay? So very early in the morning on that 28th, my interview date, I woke up around 4 a.m. started dressing up, and around 5:30 ish I headed out from the hotel to the embassy. It's a trekkable distance. I was putting on heels, but it was a comfortable heels. If you can't walk on heels, you can wear your flats, okay, but just make sure you dress corporate. Okay, I'm going to put up a video of my dressing that day. Just wear something you're comfortable in and also corporate at the same time. I mean, you're going for an interview, right? So when I got to the embassy, before I even approached the gate, I already saw some guys. I'm just going to call them hustlers because they are hustling there, you know, trying to get you to come and photocopy unnecessary things and all of that. Thank God for some of the YouTube videos that I watched about other people's experience before going for mine. They already talked about these people. They explained what they are all about, okay, so I didn't really pay attention to them. Once you know you have all the documents that you need, you don't need to photocopy anything or do anything with them. Just walk straight to the embassy gate, get into the embassy. You don't need to indulge them. And I forgot to add, a day before that day, I went to the embassy just to survey around, see what the environment is like, so that day I'll just know how to navigate my way, okay. When I got there, I already took my passport photograph. The 2x2 passport is a requirement too. I already took that in Asaba before I came to Lagos, but I still wanted them to show me a sample of what the 2x2 passport looks like, because I believe they are closer to the embassy, they will have the more accurate one, and I wanted to be sure the one I have is also the real one. Guys, these people managed to convince me. At first they were like, they looked at the passport. I already know how they act from the videos I watched, just like I said. So I was expecting something like that, but I just wanted to be very sure because I wasn't sure of the passport I snapped in Asaba. They looked at the passport. The first thing the guy said is I was putting on earrings. Mind you, the earring I was putting on in that passport was just full stop earring, not these big ones, just those full stop earrings. He was like, hey, that I'm putting on earrings. I'm not supposed to put on earrings to take the passports. I was like, they never said we should remove our earrings when taking the passports. What are you guys saying? I already know what they are talking about. Okay, they just want to get money for passports. And the other one came that my ear didn't come out well, that they have to put something behind my ear to bring it out. That was exactly what they did when I took the passport in Asaba. They had to put something for my ear to come out. This is how my ears are. Will I hold it like this for it to come out more? They just kept on talking. I was like, okay, how much is the passport? They said 3,000. I was like, you know what, let me not just use because of 3,000 and carry the passport I'm not really sure of and enter the embassy. She 3,000, let me pay and take another one. They took another passport, guys, and do you know what? My ears still did come out well in the one they took. They asked me to remove my earrings. My ears still didn't come out properly in the one they took. I even ended up using the passport I took when I was in Asaba. I didn't use theirs. So what I'm saying is, once you're sure of all the documents you came there with, once you're sure that all the documents are complete, you don't need to indulge these guys, okay? They just want to get money out of you. Just head straight to the embassy while you're there. So on the morning of my interview, I just went straight to the gate, the security. We stood there and waited. I got there around 6 a.m. So I saw other people waiting. They asked us to wait. Then later, some of the security came and started calling us in. We were asked to form 2 lines. One line for immigrants and one line for non-immigrants. So I joined the immigrants queue and they started checking our documents. Bring out your appointment letter. We brought it out. We went through that security check. We went through a lot of security checks before we got into the main interview hall. So after the first checkpoint, we passed through the second one. Also, they will ask you to drop your bag somewhere outside. You can't enter with your bags, your phones, any electronic device, whether it's an Apple Watch or whatever. You have to drop everything at the gate. Some people said there is a provision for you to drop it inside. You just pay small money. I don't know, but I dropped mine outside. I paid some money and it was locked in there. So after the second security check, they will just search you to make sure you're not with anything. You get through the third security check, then they will carry you to another security check again. You're going to put your file, even remove your slippers, where you take off your shoes. Okay, no, we didn't take off our shoes. The girl that took off her shoes Her shoes have metal on it, so she was asked to remove hers. Then after that checkpoint, we are now directed into the interview hall. When I got there, I was thinking they would still take us to somewhere else, because I just saw some people queuing, and then I saw some, you know how banking hall looks, there are several counters. You'll be seeing window 1, window 2, window 3 written on top of them. Then there's a glass that is going to be separating you from the person inside. So we are also asked to queue. Non-immigrants this way, immigrants that way. So at first we were called to different windows by Nigerians this time. So when it got to my turn and the Nigerian lady called me, she asked for some of my documents, my international passport, the passport photograph, appointment letter, police report, tax transcript, original birth certificate, original marriage certificate. All the documents you should be going there should be the original ones. If you've been divorced before, the divorce certificate you should go with should be the original one. Any document you're going with there, just go with the original one, okay, to avoid stories that touches the heart. Because I heard one of them talking to an elderly lady who came with the photocopies. He asked her to go and get the original documents. Also, evidence of relationship. Yeah, she asked me for them. I already have them printed out. I'm going to show you what it looks like. All those chat evidence, call logs, video calls, how we met, all those pictures, first visit, second visit pictures, all of them. I have already arranged mine the way I want them to be. So I packed everything like this and gave to her. Then when she saw it, she was like, you arranged it well. And she smiled. I smiled back. I was like, yes, I came prepared. So she took all the documents from me and asked me to sit and wait for my turn, that my letter is going to be letter Q, as in queen. So when I hear Q, I'll know they are calling me. So I went to take a seat. At first, when you enter, the security there won't allow you to sit down. You stand on the queue to go and submit your documents. But after submitting your documents, when you get the alphabet you'll be called by, then the security will show you where to sit. So I sat down there and started waiting for my turn. When they were done collecting the documents, the consular officers this time around, whites, Caucasians, yes, whites are going to be the ones to interview you. So they started coming to the windows, different windows, and then the interview started. They started calling people to come for their interview. So when you hear your alphabet, they won't call you by your name. They'll just call Q or something. Come to window so and so. They are calling you. So I started waiting. When it got to my turn, I heard letter Q, come to window 18. If I can remember very well, yeah, window 18. So when I got there, it was a white guy. He smiled at me and said, hello, welcome. I smiled back. Please, when they smile at you, smile too. People are not quarreling. I beg, just try and be friendly with them. They are not there to eat you up. Okay, he was typing something on the computer. He was so focused on it. Then he looked at me and said, I'm sorry, please hold on. I was like, it's okay, it's okay. Of course, why would I say it's okay? So after a while, he looked at me and said, hello, welcome. I said, thank you. So he asked if I read the leaflet they gave to us, a paper. This is what it looks like. This one is about female genital mutilation. This is about domestic violence, the helplines to call in the US, your rights as an immigrant spouse, when you're experiencing domestic violence, the helpline to call and all of that. Then this one, and this one also about document delivery. It was given to me by the Nigerian lady who attended to me first, the one I gave my documents to. After collecting your documents from you, they will give you these papers and ask you to go through them while you're waiting for the consular officer to call you. So that was the first thing. He asked me if I went through the documents. I said yes. He asked if I understood what it was talking about. I said yes. I also forgot to add, one of the documents that the Nigerian lady collected from me was contact sheets. When you get your interview letter, you'll be asked to also print out a contact sheet and come with it. You fill the contact sheet, just your information, and your spouse information. So after asking me if I went through these papers and if I understood what was written there, I said yes. He then proceeded with taking the oath. He asked me to raise my right hand up and I took the oath. He's just going to say some things and then you say yes or no. That's the oath. So I said yes. Then he took my fingerprints, the thumb, the other fingers. The consular officer that interviewed me was super friendly. I didn't even know when the interview started. I thought we were just catching up and gisting. Interview have already started. I don't want to forget any part. I wrote it out, guys. Everything lasted for, let's say, 5 minutes. But when I was going through the questions, I had to write down the questions immediately I came out from there because I planned on making this video and I didn't want to forget any part. When I was writing out the questions, that was when I realized he actually asked me a lot of questions, almost 17. But I thought we were gisting. It was very, very fast paced. Like, another thing, guys, they are going to maintain eye contact with you. They will be looking at you eyeball to eyeball. So if you're lying, they will catch you. My interviewer was just staring at me like he was literally staring into my soul. But as he was looking at me, trying to, catch cues to know if I'm lying or not, I don't know. But as he was looking at me, I was looking at him. He was looking at me, eyeball to eyeball. I was looking at him. So I'm just going to list out the questions that was asked. I didn't write them according to how it was asked. I just wrote them according to how I remembered. So the first one I wrote here is, who fight for you? I answered. How did you meet your spouse? I answered. When was the first time he visited Nigeria? I answered. How many times have you been to Nigeria? I answered. What did you guys do together when he was in Nigeria? I answered. How did he propose? Yes, he asked me that question. How did he propose? I answered. What does he do for a living? I answered. Did you two do traditional wedding? Because in Nigeria we have different types of wedding. We have the white wedding, court wedding, traditional wedding. So he asked if we did the traditional wedding. I went there with my wedding album. So when he asked, I just pointed at my wedding album and told him yes. He started laughing. Then he asked when. I answered. He asked which of his siblings are you closest to? I told him his twin brother because my husband have a twin brother. And he was like, oh, are they like Taiwo and Kehinde? I think that's Nigerian names he is familiar with. I was like, no, they are not. Taiwo and Kehinde are Yoruba names. My husband is Igbo. He was like, oh, your husband is not Yoruba. I said, yes, he's Igbo. He said, okay. Then he asked, what type of house does he live in the US? I answered, you need to know all these things. So just be writing them down, okay? He said, does he stay alone? I answered, have you or your husband ever been married before? Do you have kids together? Does he have roots here? Yes, he asked me that question. Does my husband have roots in Nigeria? I said yes, he was born and raised in Nigeria. So he asked, have you been convicted of any crime before? I said no. Have your husband been convicted of any crime before? I answered no. He asked, have you ever been outside the country before? I answered. If you said yes, of course you're going to provide police reports of the country you went to if you stayed up to 6 months there. Then he asked, what kind of music does he like listening to? I answered. So these are some of the questions I could remember. But all these things I'm listing, all these questions I'm listing out here, guys, it happened so fast. I don't even think everything took up to 5 minutes. And he was done. And the next thing, he was like, okay, let me look at your documents. That was when he went through the evidence of relationship that I came with. He was just very fast looking at them like this. I don't even think he really looked at everything. So all the money I wasted to print all those things, but it's better to print them. Come prepared. When they see that you're prepared, it's going to help your case than not coming prepared, and they'll be looking for where is your evidence. You understand? So just come with everything. He just went through them. Then he was like, okay, let me look at your documents on the system. He started looking at the system, started typing something. And when he was done, he just leaned closer to the glass. He was still staring at me. And he was like, you know what? I believe in your relationship and I'm going to approve your visa. Jesus Christ of Nazareth. I believe in your relationship and I'm going to approve your visa. That was what he said to me. Oh my goodness. I was so happy. I was like, see guys, any other thing he said after that, I don't think I heard it. It was just going in from here and flying out through the other ear. I was so overjoyed. I was like, oh my goodness, thank you so much. He smiled and nodded his head. He gave me a white paper. I think that white paper contains the details of how to pick up my passport. Well, he handed other documents back to me, but still held on to my passport. He said he's going to hold on to my passport. He gave me all the other documents back, then handed the white paper over to me, telling me that the white paper have information of how I'm going to pick up my passport, that I should expect my passport 2 to 3 weeks later, and congratulations, Jesus Christ. Everything, all these things I'm saying here, 5 minutes, I was done. I'm just emphasizing on the time so that if you're anxious, you just need to calm your nerves. It's not that serious. Once you're sure of your relationship, of course, you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to lie about. Just go there, answer all the questions, and get your visa. Another thing, guys, please, you need to be very well prepared. Before it got to my turn, while I was still sitting and waiting for my turn, the consular officer beside me, the window beside me, called a guy for his own interview. He was asking the guy some questions, but the guy wasn't really answering properly, and his visa got denied, guys. I can remember the consular officer asking the guy, how old is your wife? The guy said, I'm not good with maths, that she was born in 1940 something. I can't remember the exact year the guy called, but the consular officer wanted him to say the age. So he asked me again, how old is your wife? The guy was like, I'm not good with maths and all of that. The consular officer asked him again the third time, how old is your wife? That was when the guy just did some guesswork. He was like, she's 73. The consular officer looked at the computer and told him, your wife is 78. Like, he's now the one telling the guy how old his wife is. You understand? So please just try and come prepared. Things like this, questions like this, is something you need to know now. How old is your wife? The consular officer was even like, my wife's gonna be pissed at me if I don't know her age. And the guy was just there. Because of that and the age difference between him and his wife, he started firing the guy with questions. Who is your wife's best friend? The guy was like, her first daughter is her best friend. He was like, who is her friend that is not a relative? The guy was like, my wife stays in California, and the California stays with her. She stays with her cousin. Her cousin is her friend. He was just, Jesus Christ. I was sitting on my own seat waiting for my turn, but I was already tensed on behalf of him because, oh my goodness, he wasn't encouraging the consular officer at all. I knew that it wouldn't end well, and I felt really bad for the guy. This happened beside me, so I could hear everything. The consular officer handed back his documents to him. I was like, I'm sorry, you're not qualified for this visa category. I'm going to send back your case to USCIS. This. Oh, Jesus Christ. When I heard that, oh my goodness, I really felt bad for him. So that was it. After the interview, you're not doing any other thing inside there. So I just went back to where I kept my bag, took my bag, and headed back to the hotel. Jesus, that day, I was over the moon. I was super excited. I made a vlog about this in my previous video, just like I said. Please, if you haven't checked that video, look it up. Now let's talk about the documents I went for my interview with. This is a file I bought. This is a very big file that contained all my documents. Once you open the file, you're going to be seeing what looks like tags here, tags to separate them. So I wrote out each document, what it is, and then placed the documents in that particular space, so that when I'm asked to bring any particular thing, I'll just open my file, look at the labels, bring out the document they're asking for, and hand it over to them. When you're ready to go for yours too, you can get something like this. So I went with this, and I went with my wedding album. They didn't ask me for my wedding album. They didn't ask me to show them the wedding album. They didn't even look at it. So if you don't have strength to carry yours, if yours is too big, there is no need. But I went with mine. If you still want to go with yours, it's okay. It's better to be safe than sorry. So I'm going to be listing out the documents that I went with. The first one was my appointment letter. I had to print it out from the cyber cafe. So print out your appointment letter, the full page, then MVC payment receipts, that is that IV fees you paid, $325, and the affidavit of support payment, $120. just print it out. DS-260 confirmation page, the I-864 affidavit of support form. They didn't ask for it, but just print it out in case, okay? Then the tax transcripts 3 years before. Like I went for my interview this year, 2024. So I went with the tax transcript of 2023, 2022, and 2021. I even went with as far back as 2019. My husband sent everything. He's so extra. He sent from 2019, and I went with all of them. But go with at least 3 years back. Then the next one is W2. I also went with my W2 form 3 years prior to my interview date, 2023, 2022, and 2021. Then proof of current employment, maybe letter from employee for your husband, of course, or your wife, whoever is filing for you. They need to give you their proof of current employment just to prove that they are currently working, they have something doing, and they can take care of you when you get there. Maybe letter of appointment from their employer or current pay stub. I went with my husband's current pay stub. Then marriage certificate, of course, original marriage certificate, not the photocopy, the original hard copy. Then for the petitioner's document, that's the person filing for you, I went with my husband's birth certificate, the photocopy, and a copy of his passport page. They didn't ask me for my husband's birth certificate and passport, but just go with yours. It's better to go with all the documents and they won't ask for it than to go there and then they eventually ask for it. Do you understand? Then if you or your partner was previously divorced, also take your divorce decree there. That didn't apply to me or my husband, so I just went with his birth certificate and copy of his passport. Then beneficiaries documents, that's my own documents that I went with. I went with my international passport, of course, the passport photograph I told you about, the 2x2 passport with white background, my original birth certificate, MPC birth certificate, National Population Commission. That is the birth certificate that is acceptable. If what you have is not MPC, start looking for how to get the MPC because they're going to reject it. If you were born before 1992, you have to also go with attestation of birth certificate or something like that. Then previous marriage certificate and divorce decree, if that applies to you. Then police certificate, after doing your police report, they're going to send the certificate to you through mail, so you have to print it out and go with it for your interview as well. Then medical exam, they're going to send it directly to the embassy and not to you. That was my case for Q Life. They sent my results straight to the embassy, not to me. What they gave me was just some papers stapled together that I'll be traveling with. So these documents that I just listed out are what I placed inside here, and I labeled them this way. So when I'm asked to give them any particular document, I just search for it from the label, bring it out and give it to them. Then the evidence of relationship, you're going to print out. These are mine. You can see how we met. This is how I'm using my front camera, so you might not, I don't think you're going to see what I'm showing here because I'm recording with my front camera. But maybe I'm just going to make a video of it so that as I'm talking, I'm showing the video on the screen. Yeah, so this was how I arranged them, how we met. I printed it out. First visit, I printed it out. The pictures we took during my husband's first visit, these are some of them. You see the way I arranged these pictures. So you can do it that same way. To save money and to save space, I printed it colored, but then I had to match the pictures, so each page contains up to 10 pictures. Do you understand? So this was the first visit. I printed it this way and stapled it together. Then the second visit, I also printed the pictures, everything. You can see our wedding was also here. I printed everything out, stapled it together. The third visit, this was how I arranged them, guys, and this was exactly the way I handed it over to that lady I told you about that asked me for evidence. I just handed everything here to her and she was like, oh, you arranged it well. So this was already on my consular officer's table before he called me, so I guess he must have already seen them. Then the third visit, these are the pictures from the third visit. Everything is here. Then the next is money transfer. very important. Make sure you're keeping records of all the money transfer your husband or wife has been sending to you. Is also a good proof. So I had to print them out here. I got my husband to send me some that I have already misplaced, some of the receipts. So I printed them out. You can see that. The next one is flight tickets. Yeah, the flight tickets of your husband or wife coming back to Nigeria to see you or to do any other thing. Just print out the tickets. If you don't have the tickets, tell your spouse to scan the passport page where his passport was stamped on entry into Nigeria or leaving Nigeria. If both of you spend time in hotel, the hotel tickets too. Then WhatsApp video calls. You can see how I just arranged everything. So each one I'll print out the subheading, print out the pictures, the video calls, and everything like that. The next one is WhatsApp voice calls. So just take a screenshot of all the voice calls you've been doing with your partner, print them out. Don't send them to your email and print it out. Just take a screenshot how it appeared with your partner's number showing if possible. Then print it out that way. Just print it out directly from the way you took the screenshots to make more sense. So I printed mine out, the WhatsApp voice calls. The next is WhatsApp chats. So for WhatsApp chats, also do the same thing. Take a screenshot of all the chats you've been having with your partner. Just screenshots. So I printed out some of our chats. Do you understand? So just do yours that same way. Then these are some other pictures, random pictures of me visiting my husband's hometown, meeting with my co-wives, his brother's wives, and attending August meeting. This is a picture of me and them. So it still served as more proof. You understand? So if you have it, just print. If you have all these things, just be printing them. So this was during my introduction. I also printed out the pictures. The next one is the joint account. Yes, that's another point. This is also going to stand as a strong proof. So me and my husband, after we got married, we opened a dollar and naira joint account. We have our separate accounts, but we just needed to open something that will serve as proof also. So we opened the dollar and naira joint account. Then we're using them. The naira joint account, sometimes we just send money through there, sometimes I'll pay money in there, withdraw, just to make the account functional. So I printed out the bank statements of the joint accounts, the dollar joint account and the naira joint account that we have. This is the bank statement from when we opened the account to I think a month before my interview. That was when I printed it out. Then the next one, this is a form from my husband's workplace. He added me as his beneficiary, so he just sent me this and I printed it out. It's also going to serve as proof of ongoing relationship. If you have leased together, an apartment you rented together, make sure you're adding your husband's name or your wife's name on the receipt. Is also a proof. If you have landed properties that you bought together, make sure it's your name and your partner's name on it. They are all proof. As a lady, it's also going to be very helpful if you've done your change of name after you got married and the surname on your passport is the same as your husband's surname. It's really going to be helpful. It serves as a strong proof too. I mean, that is what couples do, right? After you get married, you change your name, but it is not a necessity. It's just going to help your case somehow. So I think I've covered almost everything. Is there any other thing left for me to cover? I don't know, but if there's any other thing before editing this video, I'll just add it. And I think we've come to the end of my interview experience at the US Lagos Embassy. My advice is you don't need to be anxious. Just go there prepared. It's better to print out all the documents, whether they are necessary or not, and when you get there they don't ask for it, than you get there with nothing and they eventually ask for that particular document you felt is not necessary. So just go there prepared and it's going to work out for you too, just like it did for me. And I'm wishing you all good luck on your own process as well. Thanks for watching. If you got to this point in this video, thank you for sticking to the end. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my channel. You don't pay for it, it's free of charge, and join this little growing family. Also hit the like button if you enjoyed this video so YouTube can push the video to other people who are also in this process and who would like to know what it's like. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking to the end, and expect my travel vlog coming soon. I think the next video is going to be my travel prep, and after that will be my travel vlogs. If you want to follow my relocation series, just turn on your notification bell. You'll be notified whenever I upload, and you watch and rejoice with me as well as you're waiting for your own turn too. All right, thanks for watching. Enough of the talking. See you guys in my next video. Bye.